Hello everyone, in this tutorial we will see how can we improve our API performance and achieve a seamless user experience using multi-threading. And why would we need to use multi-threading in our API? Well, the reason is that sometimes we need to perform a time-consuming tasks in our project. Like, for example, sending an email, or maybe doing some calculations and behind the scene, or maybe you're running an AI model that requires some processing or data processing in the backend before storing or updating some data in your database. For example, if your project requires an image recognition, and that's considered a time-consuming task, so that should be handled differently. Also, let's say your project is handling a social media web app or a mobile application, and when someone uploaded or posted a new post or video or anything, picture, you want to send notification or maybe email the related users to that particular post, then you might need to send like hundreds of emails or messages to some users, and that can't be handled normally as a normal function in our, for example, view method, or like view create method, or update method, or any other method. So it needs to be handled as a task, as a thread, so it doesn't cause any delay or lagging in our API performance. So to demonstrate that, I'm gonna use one of the applications that we created previously in this series, which is posts, to send an email every time I create a new post. And the first approach, or the first thing we would think of, is to create a method inside our posts view set, which will handle the email sent whenever I create a new post. And inside the create method here, we will just call this function after we save the new post that we receive from the API client. So let's do that first and see how can we improve that. So I'm going to come here inside this post view set class, and I'm going to create a method. I'm going to name this method send email. Okay, and inside this method we will send the email. So this method will take as arguments the message or the email body, so let's keep it as message, then the subject of the email, and also the recipient list. So the recipient list is the list of emails that we need to send this message to. And inside here we can use send mail from Django mails, which is I previously imported here. So from django.core.mail we import send mail, and we're gonna use it here. So inside here we need to add one more argument for the send mail, which is from mail or from email. So I'm gonna add it here, which is, this is my email, and now we can use the send mail here. So first thing, we add the subject, then the message. After that we add the from mail or from email, after that we add the recipient list, which is, I'm gonna copy from here. And the last thing we add is the fail silently, and set it to false. So this will send the mail or the email for us. Bear in mind that this function here won't work if we don't add some settings to our settings.py, our project settings.py, for handling the email, which is I'm going to show you at the end of this video. So let's save this for now. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to call this function here inside our create method. So after a new post dot save, we need to call self dot send email, and then we need to pass the arguments. So the message will be, for example, this is a notification. Let's just name it that. And after that, the this first takes message subject, then the subject will be notification, and then we'll add the recipient list. So I'm going to add the same email here. So I'll be sending an email to myself, which is okay, and that should do it. So let's save that and let's run our server. Please make sure your virtual environment is activated. So I'm going to type here python manage.py run server, and after that I'm going to go to the browser and navigate to the post URL and try to add a new post. So let me open the browser. Inside here I'm going to go to post/posts and click enter. And as you see, these are the previous posts that we added. So I'm going to add a new post here, and I have email opened here, so it's going to show me if I receive any new email. So I'm going to add the post here. Let's say hello from API, and the post body will be like for example, this is the post body. And now I'm going to click post, and as you see here, it's still processing. So what it was doing, it received the post request, and then after that it executed the send email function and waited until the send email is completed, then sent me back the response. So that was for one email, and you saw that it took like 2 to 3 seconds. Imagine if you're sending like 400 or 1000 email, if you have that big application. The delay will be like in minutes or maybe hours, so we don't need that. And if we go check our email now, we can see that I received a new email here. Let me just expand this, saying this is a notification. Okay, so which means working is just not the best approach, or not the right approach for that. So let's use now multi-threading to improve the API performance and get better user experience. In order to do that, I'm going to create a new class here, and I'm going to name it handle notifications, for example. and this will inherit from threadings or threading.thread. Obviously we need to import threading, and inside here I'm going to define an initiate method init, and this method will take self as an argument plus all the email arguments that we used previously with the send email method here. So I'm just gonna copy them and paste them here, and inside the init method I'm just gonna get these arguments here. So I'm just gonna say self dot message equals message, and then self dot subject, will do the same for the rest, equal subject, and self dot recipient list equals recipient list. And then I will initialize the thread. So I'm going to type threadings.thread.initialize, and then I'll pass the self as an argument. One more method we need to add, which is the run method. So this method will get executed when we call the class .start. So inside the run method I'm going to perform the send mail. So I'm just going to copy this from here and paste it here because it's going to be the same thing. And I'm going to add self to subject, message, and recipient, and that will get us these variables here. So, and from email will be this variable here, because this is not going to change, so I didn't pass it as an argument. But the recipient list might change. I might change and add different emails. So I think this should do it. So I'm going to save this, and inside the post view set, instead of calling the send mail or send email method, I'm going to comment this out, and underneath I'm going to call the handle notification class and pass the arguments that we previously passed here to the send email function. So I'm going to copy them and paste them here, and then I'm going to add .start to trigger the run method, and this should do the work. So let me save this and then go to the browser, and inside the browser I'm just gonna perform another post request. So I'm just gonna edit this and say, for example, add to, and here this is a post body 2, and then perform a post request. But before that, I want you guys to notice that the difference between the delay for the response to come from the API. So in the previous request, we noticed that we had a delay like for 2-3 seconds before we got back the response. But now if we perform a post request, which is I'm gonna do now, we'll see if I click post, I'll see I get back the response immediately from our API. And now at the meanwhile, the thread is executing the send mail to send an email to the user. So if we go my email here, I'll see that I received a new email here, which says this is a notification. So it did the same work, but we got a better performance and more seamless user experience from our API. And this applies on many use cases, as I mentioned before. So before we end this tutorial, I just want to show you guys the settings that we need to add to our settings.py file in our project in order to get the email to work. So these are the variables that we need to provide. So first one is the email backend, which is from Django. The email host is the smtp.gmail because I'm using Gmail mail server. And then comes the username or the email host user. This is your email, and the email host password. This either can be your email password or password. For example, if using Gmail, you can create a new app for your project, and then you will get a specific key or password which you can edit here, and then you add the port and the TLS option. So yeah, that's it, and then you can start sending emails. Obviously this will change if you're using another mail server or another account. So that's it guys for this tutorial. Hope you learned something new, and if so, please hit the like button, that helps the channel. And if you're looking forward for more content like this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And until the next one.